Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the Cyber Gizmo, I'm going to be looking at Dev1 right after this. So yeah, I wanted to look at this. I've had a couple of requests from some of the viewers to look at Dev1, and I'm going to be looking at Beowulf 3.0 today. Basically, this is a fork of Debian without systemd. So it is everything that Debian is, except you can either run SysInitV or you can run OpenRC as your init handler. So to find it, you need to let's just go down through here, and you'll see on the installation and documentation. One thing I would suggest, if you do install Dev1, what you'll want to do is go to Debian and get the administrator handbook, because in there it will talk about how to use either SysInitV. So yeah, you'll probably need those because they don't operate the same way as systemd. So let's go to the mirrors, and we'll take this one here. So to find it, this is the current release, Beowulf. And then you can go either to a live desktop, and there's some extra stuff you need to do here if you use that one. But I'm going to use the net installer today, and that's in the installer ISO. So, and you can still pick up, the desktop ISO or the server ISO if you want those. Also, they have the individual CDs as well. If you have a 32-bit machine, then there are installation packages as well. I did not see anything for ARM, even though I know that in their notes they talk about supporting ARM, but I don't see it. So maybe we just need to hunt around here for a little bit. Nope. I'll go up a level. There we go. So there are images. I'm not sure. Let's see. Those are a couple of years old. So yeah, you're probably going. That's probably back in the days of Jesse, I'm guessing. But you do have Raspberry Pis 1 and 3. Also BeagleBone Black, Odroid, and some of these I don't know. There's also the XU4. I'm not sure which Odroid that is. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's a different one. That's XU4. So that one would run on the HC1 and the HC2 as well, since they're the same processor. But that will not run on the N2 or N2 Plus or the HC4. It will not work. Okay, so all you need to do is, for today, all we're going to do is just download the net install. So that's that one right there. I've already done that, and I've already moved it out to my Proxmox server as well. So let me go ahead and start up that install, and we'll move this over here so that you can see. I'm going to get rid of this bright background here, and we'll zoom that up a bit so that you can look at it, even though it's going to be a bit fuzzy. So this is a command line install, obviously. Very similar to the net installs that I've done for ARM in the past. Not any. There's a few differences in how it does things and how it allows you to install and customize the system to your needs. But it's not too bad. We're just waiting for all the initial stuff to get done. Okay, and this is will allow me to set a domain name, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I can skip this if I want to disable the root account, which means that it'll use sudo. And I'll just bypass both of those, put in my name, give it a password, set my time zone. Now, I mean, this is all pretty straightforward stuff, right? I mean, this is just about every Linux distribution does this. Now, if you want to set up LVM or an encrypted LVM, or you want to do it yourself, of course, you can do that as well. As usual, I'm just going to pick the full system, even though I know Linus won't like it. But I could always go down here and do this, but it never gives me enough room in the root partitions, so I'd be better off doing a custom partition map. And just go ahead and get the base packages out here. So, okay, it stopped here, and it's asking me if I want to scan another CD. Well, I don't. So, and that's fine for the mirror. I may change that later. Maybe get one a little closer, but that's fine. So one thing I was going to tell you is that if you want to use, there is a experimental version, which is like the testing repos for Debian. So if you want to use those, there's instructions on their site in their documentation on how to do that. So if you prefer a little bit more modern, 4.19 might be a little old for some of the more modern hardware that is out there. Okay. No, definitely don't want to participate in popularity contests. Sorry, no thanks. And then it brings up task select. And here you can choose what you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Mate. No thanks. I don't want any print services, and I'll put out SSH server. And then it should go through a bunch of installs, and I will pause it once again. Okay, so we're at the point where you can make your choice between System 5 init, which was the original Unix way of maintaining services, and OpenRC. So your choice is yours. I'm going to choose Sys5 init for my choice. I haven't seen this in years, so I'm really rusty with it. I don't think I've used System 5 init. Well, BSD had it, but yeah, I haven't used it since probably a year or two. Kind of sat there on a blue screen for a moment and be kind of worried. It was like, are you just going to die or what? But no, I finally came up with this. So, okay, so it's asking me to put it on the boot record. We'll do that. Right, so we should be rebooting now. And there we are. It's very green. I think what I will try to do here is, let's see, set up my display, see what rates we get. It's better, a little better anyway. And probably we'll do a little look and feel customization. Go for that. Background we'll leave alone, fonts we'll leave alone. That looks fine. It's a little better. Probably would spend a lot more time doing this. So, all right. So the first thing we want to do is go out and get a terminal session here, and that looks good. I don't have to do any customization. I picked that up from what the changes were. So, first thing I want to do is this. This is an exploit that was found at the end of January with sudo. So if this comes back with a prompt, we've got the exploit. If it comes back and says these are the command options, then we know it's been fixed. So yeah, this one's been fixed. So that's good. So they are keeping up with the security updates from Debian, and that's great. The other thing I want to check is, I shouldn't, because this is a net install, but you could always have one or two packages that slip in. Nope, everything's up to date. So that's good. So I want to do my usual I don't think htop is out here. I'm pretty sure it's not. We'll get glances and neofetch and also get. I have a feeling snort got me again. Yep. It sure did. Oh, didn't like that, did it? Let's see if we can try that again. I keep playing around with the snort rules, trying to shut off all the ones, but it finds new ones to block. So, yeah, good old snort. I don't, in all honesty, snort probably just does a baseline, a baseline set because of all the encryption today. But okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that it did not install cups, and good, it didn't. And then let's do our usual. Probably should reboot this, but I don't think it's going to matter. 354 was what I saw when I was doing my testing, and that's about right. Plug in. There we go. 606 with the app cache. Memory, yeah, of course, 15%. This is on a 4 gig system. CPU is pretty light. I have 4 cores, and most of that activity is happening across, those load balanced across. I see some Python stuff running, and Kaja, which is the file manager. So, okay, well, and then we have definitely 419, and yeah, they have set up their own, but it is like Debian. I want to go to, let's see, I'm curious as to what sources lists they are using. So they're using their own. It's merged. And then, yeah, it's all merged. It's all theirs. So that's good. They're maintaining everything themselves. Which I guess you would kind of have to since they took system D out. There's something, and there's nothing in this. One thing that I will tell you is that when you're using SysInit 5, everything is driven from the RC directories. So I used to have a bunch of scripts and some curses apps that what I would do was I would go in and read all these, and then I would build a menu based on my run level. And you can find out, by the way, you can find out your run level. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'm running as N2. So I'm running as on the RC2. This is your run level right here. So RC2.D, all the K is when the system service is coming down by convention. That isn't always the case. But the S is for startup. So kill startup, that's where that came from. But I don't think anybody really pays much attention to that anymore, because I bet if we go into one of these, we can go look. These are, let's see, RC. Like I said, it's been a long time for me. So let's look at, now these are all, I think they're in lib, but yeah, we can find that out. Let's take a look here. So you'll notice that there's some commands here that required start, required stop, default start, default stop. Those are just ones that they recommend. But in the actual case of what commands these actually use is dependent upon the script writer. So That was one of the reasons why people didn't really like the way Linux did things too much. But anyway, though there's status, we can run that. I can do a try restart. That's another command. I can do a restart, and I can do a reload. So this would then pick up any changes that I made in the SSHD config. So yeah, all you do is just run the command. So 3 SSH, and then put in whatever the command is you want to know, and it should come back and tell you that it's running or not. You can also check the logs; they'll also be in there as well. But yeah, so and then everything. If you want to create your own services, you can start them here. That's what this is for. Is when you reach the multi-user run level. So that would be. If I remember right. So R1 is single user, R2 is the beginning of multi-user. 3 used to add on graphic support, 5 added on graphic support and networking. 4 was normally used for debug, and then 6, I can't remember. It's been so long, but I'm sure somebody will tell you there. But yeah, and then S was just a synonym for single user, but. So you can change run levels using this command right here. So if you want to go to run level 1, you can just type in run level 1, and it'll switch to run level 1. Or you can set it to go up. Now there isn't really. I looked through there. There's a few differences. There's a few differences here. In some of the packages that are running, like 6 has the unmount root, but the rest of them, to me, that looks like they're all the same. So there's, I don't know, except for run level 1, of course, but yeah. So you could think of run level 1 as kind of like a safe mode where it doesn't bring up any services and you can go fix stuff. Maybe you have a faulty entry in your FS tab file, or maybe you have a bad start on one of these that's preventing the system from coming up. The order of dependency here was controlled by the number. So if you had a particular order of things that you had to have happen, you would just number them S1, S2, and they can be duplicate as long as you don't duplicate the rest of the name. But of course, it's a typical file system. But it would then bring these up in this order. Then it would go to 3, and we'd do all those, and we'd go to 4, and then 5. So if you had a specific boot order that you have in mind for your service, and you can, because it has dependencies maybe on a database or something, or a web server, then you can have those come up first. So, but like I said, you might want to review the manual for the Debian system administrators, or you can go find there's some old. You can go get the Berkeley one, the BSD one too, from FreeBSD. That'll have that in here as well. As far as OpenRC, Alpine probably would be a good place to go for that one, or Arch would have some of that, I'm sure. So as far as in Grandpa Archive Manager, yeah, I mean, we have. I'm sure that's old, and I'm sure that's old. But again, you can fix this. Let's see. Well, version 78 ESR. It's not that old. But yeah, it would make sense. Now, I'm not sure what they're using on this for a email client, if they even offer one. Let's see. Network manager, Wi-Fi, wired. Okay. So I can go in and mess around with my wired settings. Now this one, just like we've talked about before, if you watch some of my other ones, it uses network interfaces for it, and you'll see that it has the DHCP turned on. Now you should be able to get the you can get a sample, and you can look through that and set up yours the way you want it. But yeah, like I said, I had all these really cool scripts that I wrote to install services. Easnix over on his channel, I think he did a video of Dev1 back in, I think, September, and you can check on his site. I'll leave a post there. He's got some scripts that install some of the additional packages, and he may even have an installer for this on his own. So, and that probably could help you out. But mine would allow you to go in and create new services and order them properly, and then you could start, stop, and status them. In fact, it would show the status of each of the running services in the block of the curses. But unfortunately, that script is over on a optical drive now. It's not a CD-ROM or a DVD-ROM. It's actually on an optical disc, and I don't have a reader that will read that anymore. Besides, I'm sure that the media, it's over 15 years old. I'm sure it has deteriorated to the point where it won't read anyway. But anyway, and maybe there's some other people that have done something similar to that, or maybe somebody found my scripts a long time ago and saved them. But so what I want to do right now is to check out Linus. So let's go over to here, and we'll go download it. Yeah, that might help. There we go. So let's go over to Linus, and we'll execute it. One thing I do want to check though is how many, because this is pretty long. I don't know. Sometimes on some of these, yeah, that's a little short. So I'm going to increase the number of lines that it'll keep, and yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's just run through it. A lot of suggestions already, seeing those going by. This is, I think, version 3.0.3. It's the same one I ran a week ago. They have not updated it recently, which is kind of odd. They usually do. Every time I do, it seems like I do a review of Linux, I get a new version of this. But yeah, okay. Let's take a look here. Wow, 59. So they may have changed the weighting on some of these. Let's see. Okay, harden the system. I need a malware scanner, syscontrol. That's pretty common. Permissions on the home directories. I need audit D. I need some automation tools, or at least tell it that I already have them. Process accounting, legal banner, harden. Yeah, there's the problem right there. Normally when I run this, I've already gotten those hardened, but today I didn't. So I think most of the time I do. And then we need a blacklist on USB. Is FireWire in here? Yep, FireWire is in there. And there's some packages and devsums. Oh, we need devsums. So I just need to run my hardening script on this, and that will take care of about 70% of this. Yeah, we need a password. So I don't see anything, and I don't see any warnings about firewall, which is interesting. I guess it only checks the firewall if it is installed, and there isn't one. Yeah, I don't know why it's such a low rating. I mean, that's pretty common. I mean, all these things are pretty common to a run right out of the box. So, yeah, I'm not going to fault. I think they've done some reweighting on this. I can go check, but I'm guessing they did, because normally that's up around 68, 66, somewhere in there for this kind of a problem. In fact, some of the ones that are missing, like I don't see any development tools on here. Normally that's on every other release, and it's flagging those, and I don't see that. So anyway, that's all I had for that. Dev1. The only difference is systemd isn't here. It's basically it's a Debian stable release. That's what you've got, and then you can change, of course, what variants of the packages you want to use. So if you want to run experimentally or the testing version, you can do that. Anyway, I don't. Oops, that's always coming on now. So Anyway, that's all I had. Debian, Debian and Dev1. I guess the difference is it depends on what your needs are. I mean, System 5 init or System init 5, you're probably going to find to be very radically different. But there's some old documentation that's still floating around for it. I'm sure there's some Unix manuals around for it as well. I just wish I had my scripts for it. It made it a lot easier to manage it back in those days, but I don't. Hope to see y'all again real soon. Hope you enjoyed this. Take care and bye for now.